Paul, you must be looking forward to coming back to the Harlow Playhouse.
Very much so, and I do remember it's a particularly good theatre for comedy because the audience is raked, and that seems to make for a better, I don't know, just a better atmosphere for comedy. I don't know why that is, but I always find that. So it's a particularly nice theatre to play, and I'm not just saying that.
So I'm not going to get into theatre architecture, but is it just it's very steep, isn't it? And
it's a really good sort of layout, and it just looks nice, and it's and the crowds have always been really receptive, so it's always a joy.
I think you've played Harlow a few times now, haven't you?
I have, yeah, last few tours, and it's always been nice and busy, and the audiences have been really happy to be there, so that's the perfect combination.
Are your audiences different across the country? Is that something you pick up on at all?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, there's a mixture of ages. I mean, the thing is, when you've got puppets in a show, people think, oh, it's good for the kids, but it's actually, it's a grown-up comedy puppet show. Kids, if people do want to bring the kids, and if they see me on television or YouTube or whatever, then I can understand that, because all the stuff I've done on telly, most of it, I guess, has been family friendly. But it's, I can just kind of let rip a bit more when I'm live. So that's why we have a 14 plus. But I feel like, you look out there and you'll see older people, you'll see younger people, a real kind of cross section of an audience. So I couldn't put my finger on, but they all generally, up and down the country, laugh at the same things.
That's good.
Which is a very handy thing.
Yeah. I've gone 2 minutes into this interview without mentioning COVID, but I've got to do it now. How have the last 18 months been for you?
Well, you know what? Last year was absolutely fine. I was very lucky. I was working all last year. In the summer, I worked for Butlins, and they put the shows. They took all their shows outdoors. So from July till end of September, I was doing 9 shows a weekend. And we did these shows outdoors, and we had to do more shows. So we did 3 shows a day on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was very fortunate. I was working all outdoors. Then I went to Blackpool and did a week in the autumn, and then I did a run of shows for the Octagon Theatre in Yeovil with socially distant shows, and then we went into rehearsals for the Palladium Panto, and then we got shut down literally just before Christmas. So last year wasn't so bad. The beginning, the first 6 months of this year was terrible. It's the first time in my entire career that I've not worked. If I'd taken time off, it was always because I'd taken time off to go on holiday or, whatever. But when you're told you can't work, that's a whole different ball game. So, the first 6 months of this year have been, very strange. But from a creative point of view, it's been a really good time. I've developed all sorts of ideas for the tour, for television projects and all sorts. So I've been really busy, and I'm someone that has to have structure in their day. So I get up, I go to the gym, I'll come back, I'll do a bit of writing. I'll work on ideas. I'm always working on stuff, so I just can't sit around unless I'm on holiday. And even when I'm on holiday, I'm still thinking of ideas. Because when you do what you love or what you're able to do, job-wise, which you love doing, and if I don't put the work in, no one else is going to. So it's very much, it has to be me coming up with the ideas and thinking what's next. So from a creative point of view, it was very, very good, but not so much on the financial front.
So for your Harlow audience, will they be seeing a different show this time?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. I always tour a different show every 2 years, is the way it seems to be. I was supposed to be doing it this spring, but it got put back. And so this is the tour that I would have done in the spring this year. But I tend to tour in the autumn anyway, so it actually doesn't feel that different really. So it was 2 years ago since I was last toured, which is kind of how I like to do it. And it gives me enough time to work on new material, because it takes a long time, especially when you've got new characters in the show. They take time to evolve. Like Sam, who's my longest running character, I've had him for maybe, must have been, 25, 26 years. Maybe a little bit longer. Albert, 20 years. Davey, probably about the same. And then I've got these 2 new characters, and they take time to evolve. It takes time to find out the voice, get the voice worked out, what their character is, where they come from. If once you've worked out their world and their background, then it's easier to write for. So that takes time. But I've been doing a run of gigs over the summer in Blackpool, trying out all the new material. So I'm pleased to say it's gone really well.
Do you do tryout gigs at all? I've been to people like Jimmy Carr and etc. who do, and a lot of the Edinburgh Festival this year seem to be a lot of people doing tryout gigs. Is there something you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I was doing a festival the other week down in Hampshire, just to try out some material, and my shows in Blackpool were unbeknownst to the audience. They were me trying out all my material, but it wasn't like just going out with a piece of paper going, yeah, I wonder if this will work. You know, I had been rehearsing, and had a pretty good idea that it was going to be, that it was all going to work, and it did work. And then it just got tweaked every week. But yeah, I'm doing a comedy club tomorrow night in London, and on Saturday night, 2 clubs on Saturday night, just trying out material. So yeah, it's kind of invaluable, really. I mean, some people go out and do a brand new show, and I've done that before on tour, and literally gone out and done a brand new show on the tour. And the first night has been a bit kick bollocks scramble, as they say. It concentrates the mind, but it's nicer when you get time to go out and work it in, so that you know when the tour is up and running, it's all fine. You don't have to have too many headaches of changing stuff while you're on tour. But the tour will always change anyway, because when you're working more or less every night touring, that, you know, from the moment the show starts, at the beginning of the tour to the end, you'll notice a difference. So if you saw the beginning show, if you saw one of the later shows into the tour, things will have changed. And things happen as well, that, you know, ad-libs and things happen because of something that's happened that night. And then if you can work it in and you can keep it going, then you try and, you know, you think, well, that's good, I'll do that again tomorrow night. And then so just things, routines and things just evolve.
Ventriloquism, has it come and gone over the years? Has there been high points and low points? I mean, I'm nearly 60, and I suppose I come in with Ray Charles and Shari Lewis, and then there seem to be dips in time when you didn't see many. So has there been a sort of rise and fall and rise in the act?
When you say Ray Charles, do you mean the black American
Lord Charles, Ray Allen.
Do you mean Ray Allen and Lord Charles, the ventriloquist?
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's a common mistake people make. Yes, I think there have been sort of highs and lows. I mean, in the past, when there's been, you know, light entertainment on television, variety, there was always someone around doing it, and I feel like when variety kind of entertainment finished on television, probably over the 90s for a while, and you know, at the advent of reality television coming in, which kind of was responsible for getting light entertainment, and I think it kind of got forgotten about. But when you look at the Got Talent brand, particularly America's Got Talent, there's been 3 ventriloquists that have won it over the years, and I was the second one to win it. So there's still, you know, there's always someone doing it somewhere. And now, because you've got YouTube and, you know, everything goes viral and is online, that you can see it at any time you want, really. So I think there's never been a better time for it now. But yes, I guess it's probably, you know, it's come and gone in, you know, fashionable moments where it's sort of fallen out of favour. I mean, I think there was a while when people just had their perception of ventriloquist as some old bloke with dodgy-looking, scary doll, because and they thought it was always been depicted in movies as silent killers and a bit weird. And I guess it can be a bit weird, but when you've got sort of Muppet characters, like Muppet-type characters like mine, they're all, you know, everyone loves the Muppets, and they're not, if you can, you play around with it. I use animatronics, so the puppets are working on their own as well during some of the show. It's pretty modern, really, and so I think it's very much come back in fashion. You don't see loads of it on television, but you see enough of it, I think, again with YouTube and all that, to keep it kind of current.
And when you won America's Got Talent, what was the biggest compliments that were paid to you? What were the ones you thinking, this is great and this is what I always dreamt of?
Well, I guess just, you know, I think probably meeting someone like David Copperfield when I was working in Las Vegas, meeting him and him saying, you know, great job. I mean, how he was one of my heroes when I was growing up. And to see David Copperfield in his show, and then I saw him afterwards, and he was very, very complimentary. And also to work with Terry Fator, who is the ventriloquist that won season 2, who's had a long-running show in Las Vegas. he became a friend, and he was very complimentary. So I guess, when you kind of feel like, oh, you might have cracked it when people of that ilk are saying you did a good job. That's nice. I never expected to win it. I just needed a career boost because I couldn't get any further. I was trying to develop TV shows and ideas and essentially pilots and things, and I would get so far and I could never get my own show. So I just thought, right, well, Britain's obviously not the place for me. So I went to America and thought I'd try my luck there, and it kind of it worked out quite well for a bit.
And so, what does 2020? I mean, Harlow Playhouse opens its season tonight.
Is it tonight?
Yeah, Ed Byrne starts tonight, etc. And so, but what's your plans for for the rest of 2021 and into 2022? Just work as much as you can.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the tour takes me up till 27th November at the Duchess Theatre. So I finished at the Duchess Theatre in London, and I'm already in rehearsals by then for the Palladium pantomime. So I'll be rehearsing from about the 8th or the 10th of November while still on tour, and then we start in the open at the Palladium December, and that goes till mid-January. Touch wood, fingers crossed, and all of that. So that's as far as I'm looking. I mean, I'm getting inquiries for next year now, and we're looking at doing some more of the tour dates in some of the venues that I haven't been to yet, because there's still so many theatres in this country, and it's hard to get them all put into one tour because just routing issues. That's a challenge. So I've got loads more theatres that I can play next year. Also, I'd like to go back to America. So that's all dependent on vaccinations and all of that. Delta variants. It's a real, complication, isn't it?
But yes, indeed. But meanwhile, you'd really encourage Harlow people to come to the Harlow Playhouse and see you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just come out and support live entertainment. But you can see that from the reaction on the audience's faces that I've been doing all summer in Blackpool. And people come up to me afterwards and they say, and I go to the souvenir counter and I'm signing copies of my DVD, which will be available on the Paul Zerdin Hands-Free Tour. And I get people coming up to me afterwards saying, oh my God, it's so nice to sit and see a comedy show and just sit and watch live entertainment because they're sick of Netflix. Finished Disney Plus. It's time to get back out there.